Hi, hello, and welcome. We are going to be very quick about this intro because long intros suck. To change things up from my usual one, I'm going to be drawing two things in this video. For a quick idea, it's these two things, but the first one we will be focusing on is this painty axolotl doll thing. So make sure to draw along with me because that is always fun, and let's get into it. When I make these poses, I tend to do them off camera because it takes me so long to figure out how to actually do them, if that makes sense. Like, it is the thing I struggle the most with, 100%. And when it comes to my axolotl girly, she kind of looks like a magical girl, but I'm totally fine with that because magical girls are dope. When it comes to her actual design, she's kind of wearing what I imagine a art student would wear, kind of. The beret is obviously just from the little toy, but it fit the vibe. The boots were just because I love it when my characters have really big boots, to be honest. Like, it's my favorite thing in the world. I don't quite understand where the hell her tail is coming from, but we don't need to focus too much on that. And I adore her paintbrush. It's so simple, but so cute. And it doesn't really look like the one the toy is holding, but that's fine because I took that artistic liberty. And then her pigtails are kind of supposed to be the gills, which I think comes across pretty well. They're a bit too colorful, which you'll see in the later finished rendition, but I think it goes pretty well with how colorful the design of the object itself was. And remember how I was talking about how I really struggle with posing? Well, this pose in particular, it's kind of at an angle, you can kind of see, which I've never done before. So I used a reference, obviously, because references are a godsend, and I think it really helped. I need to remind myself to do that more because I always just try to draw from whatever the hell comes to mind, but references really are a Hail Mary, as long as you're not tracing. And then for her pigtail on the left side, I was really unsure because it felt like it would go really good and it would make sense if it was in front of her, but that was a lot of stuff it was covering, and I really like how that part of the shirt turned out, so I just said screw it and put it behind her. And then for the slimy paint stuff, it was so fun to draw, and I added some final touch-up to the line work, and we were then on to plotting out where I wanted my colors to go, or what colors I wanted where. Now, I did continue to add things to the line work, especially in the hair, but this was mostly just figuring out what these colors were going to be because, like, for example, her clothing, I didn't know what to do for that because I was going to have the rest of her be so colorful. I ended up just going with a black and pink, as you can see, and then the hair, it really sucks because it's not actually a rainbow. Like, kind of from the bottom to the top it is, but I wasn't too big of a fan of that. Like, there's no purple, but I wanted to stick as close to the object as I could because I'd already taken so many creative liberties elsewhere in her design. Though I do really like my decision to make her shoes more rainbow in the lace part, and then on to the shading, which is a part I equally hate and enjoy when it comes to the artistic process. In my opinion, it can be a horribly tedious and difficult process because you need to know where the light is coming from, as well as finding colors that look good but still make sense together, which is all that color theory, which I've never studied, so I'm just entirely winging this process. But it does make the whole drawing come together, so I like the results it gives, just not doing it. But coloring line art is my favorite and last step of the process. So now we have our final drawing. Personally, I adore how she turned out, love the shadows I did surprisingly, the angle, and I think it stuck to the original object pretty well, so overall I'm happy. Tell me what you guys think about it, and we'll get on to the next drawing. And for this one, I didn't use a reference, but that's mostly because the pose is just so basic. Very shortly, I was intending to have her more scared, and I will admit, with this one, I kind of forgot I was supposed to be going off the object, and I wouldn't really say her personality and vibe gives me the little mushroom statue, but I still really like how the final result turned out. I was definitely being more sketchy and simple in this design. I tried to keep the stripes because of the bee, the sunflower over her head, which I'm really proud of, and then the swoopy antennas don't really make sense to it, but it's character design and I can do whatever I want. And I jumped straight into line work. I'm not too happy with the hands, but I never draw hands, so I think they did a decent enough job. And for her legs, I had to like redraw a structure for what I was gonna do, and I think they look a lot more realistic than the rest of her, which I'm not too much of a fan of, but because she's definitely more simple and stylized. I added the cracks because making her skin gray and stone just made sense as she was based off of a statue. And then for the wings, I didn't exactly know what bumblebee wings were supposed to look like. I again didn't use a reference, but I think I got them pretty spot on. And when it came to choosing colors, I was really nervous it was going to end up looking bland and kind of muddy, but with the blue, which I know isn't in the actual statue, I think it helped make it pop a little more. I definitely could have changed the brown a bit. I think I could have done better on this, but it's not horrible. Though maybe I'm just used to the other one because I spent so much longer on the axolotl girl. The shading on her was all pretty minimal, not too much harsh lighting or anything, and not very obvious. Though when it came to her wings, I feel like they ended up kind of looking like jello. I didn't get any transparent look, which kind of sucks, but I like how cartoony they look while being somewhat more realistic with the white veins and everything. And as always, coloring the line art for me really just brought the piece together. Before we know it, another drawing done. I'm happy with how it turned out. I definitely could have done better, but considering she's so much more simple, I like the results. And those are the only drawings I have to offer for today's video. I don't know when I'll be posting again because these take so much more effort than I ever could have imagined. But tell me what you guys think, any ideas or improvements I can make. I would love to hear from you. And please remember to like if you like the video, subscribe, because it would mean the world to me. Okay, well, maybe not the world, but a lot.